is James Harden now in the MVP race?
For sure he is. Are the Brooklyn Nets in the race for the best record in the NBA? They are. And is James Harden balling out and carrying that team? He is. I know that the immediate thought is you're playing with Kevin Durant, you're playing with Kyrie Irving. You can't possibly be an MVP when you have that kind of stardom next to you. You may not even be the best player on the team. And so how are you going to be league MVP? But look, Kevin Durant has missed 18 games. Kyrie Irving has missed 11 games. James Harden has been, without question, the engine of this team. And if he continues to play the way he has, by the end of the season, we may be talking about him being the driving force of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they're going to have the best record in the entire league for them to for him to be MVP, to actually win it. I don't know if he can win it, but we saw Steph Curry win it when the Warriors had a record 7 games better than anybody else. Then they set the record for single season wins and go 73-9, and he wins it again. And that was with some very accomplished all-stars next to him and an established great team around him. So it is possible. But the bottom line is, if we're talking about just right now, should he be in the MVP race? Without question, for what the Brooklyn Nets are doing and what they've done with Kyrie and KD missing significant time, James Harden deserves credit for that. They may not give it to him in Houston, but he deserves credit for that and should be in this MVP race.
No, Rick, he shouldn't be. It's a very small sample size that he's played without Kyrie. Yes, Kyrie has missed 11 games, but he has only missed 5 of those when Harden was on the team. We are way overreacting to what James Harden is doing because it's beautiful what James Harden is doing. It's so much fun to watch him with the Nets. I did not enjoy his game when he was with the Rockets, and what he's doing with the Nets is spectacular. We'll give you that. But we're talking about the MVP of the league. You're not going to win the MVP when Kyrie Irving and KD are on your team, and that's just the facts. Maybe that's not fair, but life isn't fair. Fairs are for fried Oreos and Ferris wheels.
Oh, wow.
In reality, you're not going to do that. KD and Steph didn't win an MVP when they were playing together. Yes, Rick, you're right. Steph did win an MVP when they were great, but Kevin Durant wasn't on that team. We have a whole half of the season left to play. Kyrie's going to be back fully healthy. KD is eventually going to be back. How you finish the season is what's going to determine who the MVP is. And while I love everything that Harden is doing, you have to count. Well, at least I am certainly going to consider what happened with Houston at the beginning of the season because he did not spend his entire season with the Nets. I think he is playing incredible basketball. There's no question about it. He is leading the force of the Brooklyn Nets, which are just the most amazing team in the NBA to watch right now, in my opinion. But the MVP is a different conversation, and he is just not in it. We know KD and Kyrie are going to be back. They're going to cannibalize him. KD is the best player on that team when he's healthy. So, no, he's not going to win the MVP. He's having an incredible season. I love watching this, and I can't wait to see what he does in the postseason with this team. But, no, regular season MVP is not going to happen for James Harden.
Oh, joy, 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 joy. You are so wrong, and I'm going to tell you why right now. Okay, number one, before James Harden joined this team, you know what the record was? 7-6. Whoa, that's a KD and Kyrie Irving team. That's 7-6. Okay, James Harden gets there. You want to know what they did after that? Well, ever since then, they've been 17-7. And, oh, by the way, they've won 10 out of their last 11 games. And Mr. Harden has been a part of those games. I'm just saying, number 2 record, number 2 seed in the East, that's just team accolades. But if you want me to drive this home, why did I start off my answer by singing joy, joy? Joy, give me a full screen, and I'm going to tell you why I was singing to y'all. This full screen right here shows you that, while we will say that Joel Embiid has been the most dominant basketball player this season for the NBA, he merely ranks right around where LeBron and, James Harden is in scoring. That's interesting because then I look at rebounds. It's like, okay, Embiid got you on that too, but they're all right there, okay? So then we move down where we're talking about passing the ball, and, you know, we all know that you got to be able to dish the ball to be able to win games. Well, Embiid, not so much. He's not so much of a court general. He doesn't feed the ball. He doesn't share the ball very much. That would probably be why he has a little bit more of a point average over the guys that are less selfish. Then you look at James Harden. Wow, 11.1. I do believe that leads the league in that category. And then you look at triple doubles. And although he doesn't lead the league, he leads the two other candidates that are leading that MVP discussion. So you're telling me there's two major categories that you would look at outside of winning as a team, outside of scoring, that would dictate why we should look at this guy as one of the best players? He was getting those assists. He just recorded his 8th triple-double the other night, which means he was getting triple-doubles while Kyrie Irving was on that court, Ric Bucher. I'm just saying, if that's not an MVP candidate, then who is?
LaVar, thank you so much for that full screen. Enjoy.
So
don't be stealing LaVar's tactics this early into our little group here.
Don't do it. Don't expose me.
Gathering. And that you change the question. It's not will he be the MVP? It's is he in the MVP race?
Don't be putting our tactics out there, man. That's
that
a
he's
Pittsburgh
in
thing.
the MVP race. And look, you make fair points about KD coming back and that the voters are probably going to look at it and say you just can't win when you have that much star power. But this is an unusually weak MVP class right now. I mean, Joel Embiid is at the top almost by default. We've never talked about him in this conversation before. And we got to know that he's going to be able to finish the season in health and that the Sixers are going to be able to maintain their current run. You got LeBron James, who's going to load manage. You got Chris Paul, who probably should load manage if he isn't. Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic have some road to gain as a result of where their team records are. Nobody's going to give Giannis 3 MVPs in a row. I just don't see that happening. So that's why I believe that while he certainly is in the MVP race, I can make an argument for if the Nets blow everybody out of the water and Harden continues to be both the scorer and distributor, making Kyrie and KD and this whole combo work, that he could wind up as MVP. It's not, look, it's a long shot, for sure. Circumstance is going to dictate it. But is he in the MVP race right now? He has to be in the MVP race right now.
Well, Rick, you'll have to forgive me if I change the question up because I have no idea what the criteria for winning an MVP is anymore.
Nobody does.
It's completely narrative-driven. So what am I supposed to say? KD and Steph couldn't win one together.
There's no definition.
There's no definition. So according to whatever the definition that's floating around this year is, no, James Harden is not in the MVP conversation.
That's a fair comeback.
Giannis won the MVP back-to-back years. Last year, it was clearly LeBron James' year to win the MVP since he's won 4 in his entire career, which is egregious. And what was the conversation for Giannis? Well, they have the best record in the league, and he has better numbers than he did last year when he won the MVP. How can we not give it to him again? I don't know, because define what an MVP actually is, and then we can really have the conversation about who is deserving of an MVP. And I'm not saying that the NBA MVP is not still, it's no longer a prestigious award, because it absolutely is. It's a huge honor. And there hasn't ever been one who's won it who wasn't deserving of it. But since we have no idea what the definition is, no, James Harden is not in the MVP conversation right now. There's no way to define it. It's. I don't want to go so far as to say it's like a prom queen type of situation, because it's like, you know, the prom queen generally was someone who you expected to win. But like, can we define it? Am I wrong there, Rick?
No, we can't define it, but that means if it's not defined, we also can't exclude James,
Which
right?
means James should be in the
best player on best team
for this year.
It is one definition. That's why I'm saying if they have far and away the best record and he continues, his numbers say that he's the most influential player on that team, then I think there's a case that can be made for him as MVP. Long shot, no doubt about it. But is it possible? Because there is no definition, it's possible.
Well, then KD should have been in that conversation when he was with Steph and the Warriors and they were blowing everybody out. But I'm with you.
Probably
it's impossible to define.